Creative Speaks gives young people the platform to allow their voices to be heard when speaking on things that impact their lives. Our podcast is talking about social injustices from the young point of view.
The podcast is about social issues and what's happening in the world.
We talk about things that will impact our lives and others.
Our goal is to inspire young people around the world,
to inform young people about problems and social injustices currently happening in our society today.
Creative Speaks is for young people from young people.
You're listening to Creative Speaks.
Hello and welcome to Creative Speaks, where today we're going to be talking to Emma Mullen, because in this podcast we really want to address how young people are supported in the arts in Scotland.
Emma grew up locally just like us, and she made her way to the West End. We're interviewing Emma remotely today as she is in London about to make her debut as Sophie on the West End.
Sophie's in Mamma Mia, which is a movie written by ABBA, who writes songs. Speaking of songs, we're going to ask Emma and ourselves if there's a movie or a film that we really like a lot and we might, listen to over and over again for eternity. So what would yours be, Ellie?
Mine would be Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian.
Okay, if I was to watch one, it would probably be Aladdin 1992 with Robin Williams in it because it's better than Mulan.
So, Nicola, if there was a TV show, film or song you could watch over and over or listen to over and over again, what would it be?
I think I would watch The Good Place over and over again. What about you, Ava?
Well, I've actually watched Glee 4 times, so probably that. Never get sick of it.
Jenna, if you could listen to a song or watch a movie or TV show, what one would you watch or listen to?
It would be a TV show, The A-List on Netflix. Good TV show. Orla, what about you?
I would probably watch Pitch Perfect. I swear I've watched it about 50 times and I'm still not bored of it. And what about you, Katrina?
I'd probably watch Princess and the Frog because I don't know why, it's just a good movie and I've watched it on repeat because it's my happy movie.
And we just want to say thank you for coming and everything.
Yeah.
So no problem, guys. Thanks for having me. First question.
So what we're trying to kind of talk about is arts and how it's supported in schools. So obviously you went to St Ninian, so we wanted to find out how your arts experience was in that school. What access and support did you have, looking to have a job in the arts, and if there was any barriers that stopped you from doing that?
That's a really good question. So at the time that I was there wasn't a drama department at all. There was obviously a music department in every school, and that was the sort of closest thing to drama, I suppose. And then in English, obviously we read plays and things, but drama wasn't really a sort of big thing at my school. We did a couple of school shows every now and then, but only it's because we had this one teacher who loved drama and really encouraged that. And I think now he is there's now a drama department. I think it was the year after I left the school, there was a drama department. I was oh great. So, but there's now a drama department by him, I think. But he was an English teacher when I was there, and he was great. He loved drama and all of that. So he would put on shows and stuff, and that was great. It was just my luck that I had a teacher like him that was really supportive and things. But on the whole, if I'm honest, I didn't feel massively supported at all. I hope that it's changed now that they have a drama department and stuff. But I think it's just, to be honest, I think it's difficult because a lot of the teachers don't know, if I went up to them and was I want to be an actor, and they're what's this? We don't sort of know how to support you with that. And some teachers, most teachers were really nice about it and sort of supportive and were you go for it. But I do hate to say it, but some teachers were quite rubbish about it and not very encouraging and tried to sort of steer me off to do something else, which wasn't great, to be honest. But it never put me off. But I do worry that that could happen to other kids, and they sort of get deterred from doing stuff that they want to do, just because the support isn't there. They just didn't know that was a career that could happen. So there wasn't massive support. There was just 1 or 2 teachers who I was really lucky to have that were really supportive. But on the whole, there wasn't a lot of support for really anyone going into the creative industry at all.
Did you have any other support?
So to be honest, it was a completely separate thing to school for me. I went to like other drama classes and stuff out with school. So I started a drama class when I was about 12 or 13, I think. And I was so lucky to go there, and because I had amazing teachers and sort of was able to sort of see that as an option that I could do that as a career. So yeah, that was where like my main support came from, that stage school that I went to from when I was about 12 or 13.
At my school, you have like a teacher that's like kind of only to do with like careers and what you do when you leave school. So did you have one of them that was supportive of you and what you wanted to do?
No, to be honest, I think we did have a careers woman, but I don't ever remember talking to them. There wasn't really anyone that I spoke to at school and said that, like, you know, this is what I want to do. And it was sort of like, okay, well, let's see how it works. I was kind of just left to it because they didn't know how to go about it. Like no one ever said, oh, you should audition for drama school, or like I had to find that out on my own. And I was really lucky that I went to this drama group on my own and I got all my advice from there. But within school, there was no sort of advice at all. Like if anything, they were asking me, also, how do you go about that? And I was there like 15, like, well, I think I'll go to drama school, or I don't really know. I'll sort of figure it out. So no, genuinely not. I mean, there was support for obviously like more maybe obvious sort of routes that people went down, like teaching or, you know, going into nursing or whatever. Like there was really like well mapped out things for them. Like they knew how they would go about that, but they just kind of like left me to it because they genuinely just didn't have the support in place. They just didn't know how to guide me into that.
My school's quite different because we have like a good couple of teachers, and like our guidance teacher helps us with everything. Because my guidance teacher always asks me about like my outside drama and everything. A lot of people in my class that I'd done drama with got quite into doing drama inside the school because of me explaining how it was outside and how different it was.
That's great that your school's like that. It's amazing. To be fair, I did have one guidance teacher who was really lovely. Like he was just like, yeah, go for it. But I mean, he had no idea like how I would go about it. So he kind of just left me to it. But that's great that you have that and that other kids have got into it through you. That's amazing. We did have annual shows. Like I say, that was through that teacher, Mr. Kearney, who was great. He was so good. And he still comes and sees shows now. It's so lovely, like whenever I see him, because he was so encouraging. But it was really off his own back that he did shows. I think in the time I was there was maybe 3 school shows in the 6 years that I was there. And it just kind of depended on whether he had the time to do it or the sort of resources to do it or whatever. And it was great that he did, because it was funny because so many people got involved, even people that weren't into performing or into drama or anything. They got involved and they had a good laugh, and it was just a great way to meet people from other year groups as well, and, you know, chat to them. And so yeah, no, we just every sort of second year we did it, but hopefully that's changed.
A lot of us here go to Easton Bartonshire School. Some of them have drama departments and some of them don't.
It's quite strange because your school is in North Lancashire, and so is mine, but I don't have a good drama department.
And they're different.
I didn't get drama in first or second year, and the first time that I actually found out that you could take drama at school was when my music teacher pulled me out because of this to ask about a musical theatre course, and she asked me how my experience was with drama, and I said I haven't had drama, and she was so confused by that.
It's strange, isn't it, when you don't sort of, when it's your thing that you like to do and you can't do it within school. It's weird. Like, and I remember it as well going to an Easton Bartonshire school. I think at the time it was maybe Kirky High had a drama department. Maybe they still do.
Yeah, I think so.
They do.
So it was kind of like when you got to 5th year, you could maybe go and do drama at Kirky High or something like that. But I actually don't think that was an option for me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I wanted to pick something else instead of that. I don't know, because, you know, it kind of works different with all the columns. Do you still do that, like picking your subjects and stuff? You don't get what you want because you want to do that. And so I don't really know if that was even an option for me actually to go to Kirky High, but I remember that was an option for other year groups around when I was there, and I remember that being a thing. But even that, you know, having to go to another school like twice a week to do something, it's not great.
It's not been able to do like the arts in school ever put you off or like question what you wanted to do when like you left school? Did it ever put you off it?
I think because I wanted to do it so much, and because I was really lucky that I went to a drama class where I had amazing teachers that were so passionate and like inspired me so much. I was so lucky to have that it was so separate from school that I didn't even see school as an option to do any of that. Even when I was doing the school shows and stuff, it was all for a laugh. Like it was never, you never really almost took the shows seriously, because it was just like, I was like maybe the one or there was like 2 people in my year that enjoyed drama, but everyone else was just doing the school show to get out of class for like 2 weeks at the end of the year and like, do you know what I mean, have a good laugh. With some of the teachers sort of maybe trying to deter me and they would say, you know, oh, that's a really difficult thing. And a lot of them were a bit, you know, I remember I was in my last year at school and I was learning a monologue for my drama school auditions. And I had this horrible teacher that came up to me and was like, oh, is that your wee hobby you're doing? And I was like, this is me preparing to like go to a university and do this. Do you know what I mean? It was never really taken seriously. I wouldn't say it ever sort of deterred me because I wanted it so much. Them saying things that were maybe trying to deter me made me kind of fight a bit harder, I think, to do it. But honestly, it was such a separate thing at that time. I hope now that it's different, now that there is a drama department, you know, if there are people that want to go and do it, that they're supported there and they get to like work on their stuff there. And but for me, it was completely separate. It was like 2 different lives between school and going to stage school on the side.
There's one teacher in my school that was completely put off going into the arts until she decided she wanted to be a drama teacher. So she came to art, she went to many different schools and she didn't like it until she met like every class that was in our school that had to take drama in 1st and 2nd year. And then she said that she fell in love with every single person that she taught and that she absolutely loves it and she would not change it for anything, which I feel is quite good, but it's so drastically different. Like for when you were at school, it's so different now, which I don't find very fair.
Yeah, no, but if anything, I'm really happy that it is, because it's weird because it didn't deter me at all, and I'm really lucky just because I really wanted to do it. I had really supportive parents, which is a massive thing as well, and I also went to this stage school who really encouraged me and really, like, over the 6 years that I was there, sort of helped me out so much. So I do feel really lucky that I had all of that support out with school, but it does slightly worry me a wee bit that like there are maybe people who maybe don't have as supportive parents, not in a bad way, just their parents maybe just don't really know that it's an option for them to do it, or and so they sort of go, oh, maybe don't do that, do something else. And without that support at school, maybe there could be people who completely miss, you know, opportunities within the arts. And the thing is, it's not about, you know, everyone wanting to be a superstar, you know, and wanting to be this like massive actor or whatever. Like, there are so many jobs within the creative industries, like so many jobs on so many levels that it's a massive industry. It brings like £10 billion into the country like every year. It's massive, and there are so many jobs within it. It's not just about being like a superstar or whatever. And I think a lot of schools get a bit like, oh, like it's a really hard industry to go into, and you know, only a couple of people make it and whatever. But there's so many jobs that you can do.
I just personally think that the teacher should, like, if there is like a good amount of people that want to do this, they should learn about ways to help us get into it instead of like trying to lead us on to something else that we don't really want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I always think as well with drama as a subject, like for people who go on to be nurses or doctors or like anything else, having drama lessons when you're younger just like brings you out your shell and gives you like this confidence. And there are people who I went to the stage school that I went to when I was younger, and they're now doing like all sorts. They're lawyers, they're, you know, and but it gave them a confidence growing up that they might not have sort of found if they hadn't gone to drama lessons and things. Do you know what I mean? It gives you this like people skills and stuff. So that's why as well I'm surprised that school, maybe they do now, but at that time just didn't encourage it that much.
When you told people that you wanted to be an actress, did anyone laugh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the thing is, I don't blame everyone. I mean, at the time I was like, I want to do this. Why are they laughing at me? But looking back, I'm like, you know what? I get it. It's a wild thing for, you know, I mean, a 13-year-old to say. I think I was about 12 or 13 when I was like, I want to do this. I love it. It's what I want to do. And I get it. Like, it's crazy. It's such a ridiculous life choice in so many ways. But again, I was just so lucky that I had so much support at home that for me, it never deterred me. If anything, it made me like push harder to do it. But I do remember having a biology teacher who was sort of, I think it was when I was picking my subjects or something, and I was telling her what subjects I'd picked for higher or something, and I said, oh, I'm not going to do maths next year. And she was like, what? You're not doing maths? Like, everyone has to do maths, you know. And I think in standard grade, I mean, it's different now. I don't know, it's like national fives or something. I got a 1. Like, I was really good at maths, but I was like, I don't need to take it further because it's not really something that I'm interested in. I don't think it's going to help. I'd rather do higher English and like read plays and write and, you know, like do all that. She was like, why? And then I said, oh, it's because I want to be an actor and I want to go to drama school. And I remember her just laughing and being like, well, you know, that's pretty difficult. I don't really see that happening. Or I remember being like, oh my God, like I was quite hurt by it. I remember just genuinely just being quite hurt by it. It didn't deter me, but I was just like, oh, that's quite unsupportive. I just found it quite mean, actually, because everyone else in the class, it was like, oh, you're going to go to uni and do business with languages, how amazing, that's great. And then it was like, I want to be an actor, and they were like, oh, good luck with that. Do you know what I mean? So if anything, it just hurt me, but I do worry that these things are said to people who maybe don't have as much support as I did have at the time. But yeah, I did have a few of those situations, but luckily, like, I didn't really take them to heart too much, and I just sort of ignored it and moved on.
Maybe like just use people like that to have a reason to like want it more and try harder to get it.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is not to take these things personally. It's really difficult, especially when you're a teenager and it's that transition into being an adult and you're deciding what you want to do. When people say things that go against what you want to do, it is quite hurtful. It can be quite hurtful. But like you say, use it as sort of encouragement to sort of, you know, just do it. And even now, like, I mean, I don't blame that woman at all. Like, she obviously just didn't know enough about how you would go about it, and that it is actually a real job. It's not just some like pipe dream. It's actually, you know, it's a job that many people do. I have passed her a couple of times when I've been at home and seen her, and I've just been like, it's quite a nice feeling to be like, I did it, you know. But I don't hold any sort of grudges against any of that. It's just the way it happens. And if any of this happens to any of you who maybe want to go into creative industries and stuff, you just have to sort of brush it off, you know. Like, it's just maybe that it's not as an obvious sort of career choice as many of your peers have, you know. So don't take it too personally, is what I would say.
We know that you're in Mamma Mia, but like, what was your first thing that made you think, oh, I want to be an actor when I'm older?
So actually, when I was at primary school, oh God, this is going back, but when I was in primary 7, I had this amazing teacher called Miss Pollock. I don't know where she is now, where she's teaching now. But up until then, I was quite not a strange child, but sort of quite shy and quite reserved. And I wasn't really out of my shell. I found it quite difficult to sort of speak to people in big groups and things. And I mean, within my friends group, I was a bit wild and whatever, but I was quite shy. And then I had this amazing teacher, like halfway through primary 6, and then for all of primary 7, she was amazing. She was so creative, and she wrote a play for like the end of primary 7, so like the end of our time at primary school, and we put on this play. I remember her sort of taking me aside and saying, so in the show, there's these 4 main parts, and I didn't get the main part. And I remember being like, oh, I'd quite like to have been the main part. And she said, but what the part you're going to be is this little old lady. And she's a funny little old lady. She clearly like could sense that I was just a funny wee girl. So she just like was like, you'll be the old lady. So and I did the play, and I like just was like milking it for all it was worth. My like one scene or whatever it was, and I was like, be this old lady. And I just got the bug. I just felt like it was just so fun just to be really silly and like have a laugh, and it just felt like something that I was good at. Even though I was in primary 7, I just felt like I was good at it. I mean, probably if I watched it back, I'd be like, oh my God, but like it just felt so like exciting and free, and I loved it. And then that's when I asked my mum if I could go to like drama lessons and stuff, because from when I was like 4 years old or whatever, I did ballet and all that. And I think like sometimes, and I went to a sort of ballet school that was quite like strict and quite, you know, traditional and stuff. So, which was great for like being quite disciplined and stuff, but it's quite ballet and things like that are quite restricting and quite, there's a rule book and you must look perfect and it must be perfect. And then I think when I like experience drama and having, just being able to play and just like be silly and have a laugh, I just felt like I just burst out of this little shell. And I just felt like a completely different, like new person. I loved it. So I think that's the moment when I was like, I really enjoy this. I don't think at that moment I was like, I want to be an actor, but I think I just was like, I really love this and I want to go and do this. And then when I went to that stage school when I was about 12 or 13, the stage school that I went to provided the kids for like the UK tours that would come to Glasgow. So things like Joseph and Annie and all that need kids, but they can't tour with them. They get like the kids from each city. And my stage school sort of provided the kids for stuff like that. And I remember doing like Annie, and it's you're with like a professional company. And I remember looking around and being like, this is their jobs. Like they're just people who are actors and that's their job. And I think that's the moment where I was like, oh, right, like I could actually do this as a job. And then from there, it just sort of became what I wanted to do.
Was there anything like TV shows or movies that you watched that made you kind of want to be an actor more than you did already before?
I mean, not to be the cheesiest person on the planet, but like I remember that there was like a time where there was loads of like movie musicals out, like the whole High School Musical era. I mean, I'm older than you guys, so bear with me. But there was like High School Musical, what were the other ones? Like Hairspray was a big thing at the time when I was around that age. I remember being obsessed with Hairspray and just being like, I just love the music and I love it. Like I just loved it so much, and I would like make up little dances with my friends to it. I mean, oh my God, so cheesy. But things like that, I think around that time that I was starting to go into drama, I think really inspired me. It's so feel good, and like I just loved watching them. And I'd put the DVD in and watch it like 10 times a week. Do you know what I mean? Learn all the songs and stuff. I think that whole like period of time was maybe a time that really inspired me to sort of break out of my shell and do drama and stuff. So probably stuff like that. And then as I got older, I probably watched, better films, dare I say, that obviously like inspired me a little bit more to do other things. That's a good question, actually. I've never thought about how that time period in those films actually inspired me, but when I look back, I'm like, God, I stood in front of the TV and like copied the dances and everything, and like the little weirdo that I was. I loved it. That probably definitely inspired me to do that, for sure.
I think that's all our questions done.
So that's going to lead you on to the next lot of people. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. Can't quite work out what's going on here. It's like Goldilocks.
Do you want me to walk you through it quickly?
Yeah, go on, walk me through the look.
So I think this is a Goldilocks costume.
I think it is.
And I think I wore this when I was Simba in Lion King. This is a podcast, so you can't see it, but you can check out Creative Speaks TikTok to see my amazing fashion sense.
Mm-hmm. I can certainly say to anyone who's listening, go and check out that outfit on the Instagram.
Honestly, Vogue, call me.
Anyway, we were talking downstairs about how, like, Nicola was saying that she's got a really good drama department, but all three of us haven't found that with our schools.
Like, I Easton Bartonshire School, and I have no drama department, full stop.
And how does that, sorry, be asking questions, so my one question, and how does that make you sort of like feel? Does it make you feel like you're not encouraged to do it, or do you sort of go, do you know what, I'll do it in my own time and it's fine?
It was weird because I done like loads of it in primary and was like, I want to do this, is going to be good, and then came and was like, oh, I'm not getting to do this. Yeah. I'm relying now on, creative sparks. It's like for the drama side of things.
Yeah. I think it's just interesting, like the spread. We're all in one area, but the drama departments are so different. Like we've got one that's not great. Me and Alex go to the same school. We've got one that's not great. And then Imogen just doesn't have one, but Nicola's got a really good one. So I don't...
It's really varied. And also, there was a period where drama just wasn't a thing for 6 months in our school randomly.
It's so important for so many people, not just people that want to go and do it or want to go do anything within the creative industries. It's so important for just everyone, like just to sort of have some drama lessons and like time to sort of, gain some confidence in yourself and be silly. It's so underrated, especially for teenagers where you're going through that stage of hormones and, you can be quite self-conscious about things. And it's just such a great way to like burst out of your shell and like be silly and not take yourself too seriously.
I would say I'm very different, like at drama than I am. Because I think we all are. Like those things that I've done in drama, like I put on a massive kangaroo costume once. That if anyone in my school, like say to my friends, seen, they would be like,
"Yeah, what are you doing?
You did that?" I was like, they'd be like, "No."
How other people, like you were talking about how teachers reacted to the fact that you wanted to do drama, but like how did your peers react to that?
I think I really kept a lot of it to myself. I mean, I had a best friend called Alex who was also into drama. We just like loved all that singing, dancing and stuff. So we never sort of did it like in school or whatever, but we would talk about it in school, and so I was lucky to have a friend who was also into it as well, and also one of my other friends, Maria, as well. She did drama as well, so we would kind of talk about it and stuff, and we were quite confident, like silly people. Like we weren't like singing and dancing like in the hallways and stuff, like maybe sometimes, but not all the time. Like we weren't like ridiculous like that. Like but we were quite, confident and silly. We didn't really take ourselves too seriously. I mean, we did a bit because it's natural, I think, at high school that you do a little bit. But I think there were a lot of people at my school who could really have done with like a little session of running about the room and pretending to be a frog, just to like go, do you know what? I don't need to take myself too seriously. Like life isn't too serious. I can just have a laugh. And I think there are so many kids at my school who could really have benefited from just having that like hour a week of like just gaining their confidence and like finding their voice as well. Do you know what I mean?
We were listening to you downstairs. We were in the last bit. We were all wondering what was the theatre school you went to.
It's sadly not a theatre school anymore, which is really sad. But it was called Starstruck Stage School, and it wasn't a sort of like big, sparkly, expensive drama school. Like stage school at all. Like it really wasn't. It was, church hall, totally not like a sparkly stage school at all. And that's the thing. Those schools are great as well. They're really great, but it kind of doesn't really matter where you go as long as you're just getting that time to, have fun and gain confidence in yourself. That's just all that matters. That's where I went.
I feel like the environment in like school compared to like drama is very different, because I feel like school you're very much tense, and I feel like, well, me especially now, I'm just like awkward and stuff, but I'm doing something, I'm going, are people like thinking, oh, she's so weird, like, oh, and then I do something at drama and I don't care because I'm like, I'm comfortable and I'm with the people I really like and stuff.
I think it's because we're all quite similar in that way.
We are the awkward ones at school, let's face it.
I know, it's so true. I remember I only went to that stage school it was once a week, like on a Wednesday night, and I would just be like, my heart would just be aching to get there every week. I'd be like, oh, I can't wait. And it was literally 2 hours a week, and it felt like the best 2 hours of my entire week. Like I'd look forward to it. I then spoke about what happened for the rest of the week. Like I just loved it. And like you say, like you go there and there are people like you, I think, as well, that like drama and like all of that. So it feels like a really nice environment where everyone's kind of like you, has the same interests. And then when you go back to school, you feel a little bit like, oh, everyone's not like me, or not as sort of like passionate about other things as me. But it's just natural. It's like, everyone in school will then go on to university or college or to jobs or whatever, and then they'll find their people, like it's so, even when I went to drama school after school, like when I went to the conservatoire, I was like, oh my God, like these are my people, and they're now like my best friends, because like we all just found each other and we all had the same interests and things. And it's the same with people that will go on to be nurses and stuff. Like they find their friends that they have the same interests, and it's just sort of the way it all happens.
Just as you mentioned the conservatoire there, we were just thinking, so your stage school, were they the ones that gave you the confidence to actually audition?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I didn't actually think that I would get into drama school straight out of school, because I was told that that's just very rare, and it is very rare. Like it's I was really lucky that I really suited the conservatoire and got in, and I didn't think I would get into drama school the first year, because I was kind of told by a few teachers at the stage school, not in a like, you're not going to go in or whatever. They were just like, just be realistic, like you might have to go somewhere else for a little while and then audition for drama schools and stuff, but which was such like helpful information. They went through all my monologues with me, my songs with me, and told me like which dance classes to go to on the side to sort of build all that up. And and they were brilliant. Like they literally got me into drama school. Like they just having people, because at that stage school we had people who were, you know, like full-time drama teachers, or they were people who would dip in and out and who were actors and singers and stuff that would come in and out. And so there was a whole like mixed bag of teachers who all gave me so much knowledge over the 6 years that I was there. And then towards the end, like really like geared me up for auditioning for drama school. So it was really them that helped me out. And like I say, they were not like some kind of glittery stage school at all, but they were just so supportive and brilliant and really like wanted me to do well. And when I got into drama school, they were just like, rah, like absolutely buzzing for me. They were amazing. They were great.
Like I've only been in Lindsay Academy for a year now. I came in like thinking, oh, I'm going to be like so out there and like telling everyone about how weird I am. And like, I won't go too much into it because it gets a bit dark, but oh my goodness, I got absolutely like from the other pupils and stuff. And then it got really bad. And the school was actually so supportive of like everything and like helping and stuff like that. But it really like hurt me. And now I feel like I started to like kind of go back a bit more and kind of like limit myself when I was like in school. So I really feel like that, like it just should be so, we really need to take it out of culture that this is like such a negative thing.
I feel like when I'm in school, I feel very defensive. Like I just put up like a big wall. It's like, no.
I mean, it's weird. Like high school is a really strange time because, I mean, absolutely everyone in your year group is going to be self-conscious. I mean, whether they sort of slag people off for being whatever, like it's because of their own insecurities. It's nothing to do with you at all. And always be mindful of that. I mean, I hope your schools have sort of sorted out and stuff. And I know naturally you sort of do dim your little shine a little bit because you don't want people to give you any hassle for it. And it's a shame that we have to do that. But it's just the way we like survive, I think, at high school. But just always remember that it's never, ever about you. It's about them when they say these things and when they, you know, don't like the way you are, or it's because they don't have that confidence and they have no idea why someone else does, and it like they're just jealous that someone else is so out of their own shell and is so confident in themselves. So I would never sort of worry about that. Or I mean, I know it's quite sad, and like I hope it never gets, you know, bad if it does reach out to people, and you know, because it's not acceptable for people to sort of make you feel bad about that, because you're great. Confidence is an amazing thing, and you know what? Like when you leave high school, you'll see how much that confidence helps you in life. At high school, confidence feels like a little bit of a thing that you can't feel and you can't like express and you can't, you know. But like when you leave high school and jobs become a thing, university or college or whatever, like you need confidence to get through life. So just always remember that it's never about you when these people say anything or anything like that. And this is what I mean about why drama lessons in school would be amazing. Like just to be silly for an hour. Even the people who don't even enjoy drama or don't want to go and do it.
It'd be so intimidating to people. Like if there was like really supported drama in schools, like they'd go into it and see people being really confident and like they couldn't do anything about it. It'd be so good.
I felt more supported in primary school when I done it, because I remember little 8-year-old Imogen, very, very like kind of crazy child, didn't shut up ever. And I remember the first time it was one of the teachers in our primary school, and I'll never forget her because she was doing we were doing a school show Annie, and I think it was the first time Jen came to our school, and I got the wee one Molly. I got the role of Molly purely because little Imogen was very, very small, could get her voice very high, was already a very like eccentric character, and it was like great. And then I remember that was when I said to my mum, I want to do this drama school that this like woman Jen does, because I really enjoyed this show. And then I felt more like supported. Then I was like came into drama, and we done like all these shows, and it was amazing. It was just like, I can't believe I'm here, I can't believe I'm doing this. And it was just, and I met like all these people that wanted to do the same thing as me.
Yeah, and it's great when you find those people. But also like when I did those school shows at high school, I mean, it was all, like I say, people who signed up just to get like 2 weeks out of class, do you know what I mean, at the end of the year. And because they were like getting this time to just like have a laugh, they all got so into it. They just got so into it. And I just remember thinking like, this is just great. Like no one took themselves seriously. Like I remember we did Grease and there was all these guys who were like, you know, the popular, like quite self-conscious guys. And they got really into it and wanted to look good and wanted to make sure they got the steps right and everything. And it just brings people together.
Like I find that in school there's a lot of people that are like, oh, why would you take drama? And they don't know that you enjoy drama because like you never express it. Like there was a time I was singing French and we were the quiz was like, which one of these musicals is set in France? And Les Mis was the answer. And the person sitting next to me went, oh, who cares about musicals? And I was like, I mean, I do, but
I know. It's seen as such a sort of uncool thing. And I mean, even though I've like trained in musical theatre or work in musical theatre, I get it. Like people don't see like good musical theatre like a lot. They see like a lot of the like really cheesy stuff, and that's what they think it is. And so they sort of like judge it on that, and they're like, it's and you know, especially being a teenager and who's like maybe a bit self-conscious, like, you know, you just instantly attack things that aren't, you know, what you like. You're like, I don't like that. I don't like musicals. And, you know, whatever. Come on, guys, have a laugh.
I feel like people see that like the arts as a hobby. They don't ever look like there are really good jobs in there. If you say you want to go into a job like in maths and they go, yeah, great, we'll go hires, all that. And then you say, oh, you know, I want to do this. And they go, because that's what happened to like me. And I said to the IT teacher, I want to do a job in art because I really like art. I'm really passionate about it. And she just went, right, get a backup. You're not getting in that at all. Get a backup. No way. And then she turned like, you know, the pay is not good. You know, you'll be doing like freelance stuff. You'll not be supported. You'll not be able to like support yourself. You'll be living with your mum and your dad. And I'm like, maybe I was like, well, do you know that? Can you see into the future?
This is the biggest misconception I think within schools about the arts, is that when a kid says they want to go into the arts, it's you need to have a backup. And it's like, okay. But what they don't understand is that it's a massive industry where there are so many jobs. I mean, unbelievable amount of jobs. And schools just unfortunately just don't really know about that industry enough. And if they did, you know, they could literally say, okay, you want to go into the arts? Let's look at all of these jobs that you could do. Maybe we could contact a theatre and you could go and do work experience for a week and see what all the jobs are that you could do. And, you know, there's like, you've got amazing drama teachers. That's a job. That's a really great job. Drama teaching, like singing teaching, even people who play in bands, like function bands and things, singing function bands, like wedding bands and stuff. These are like really well paid jobs that are people's full-time jobs. And it's not just all about, you know, going to be a singer or an actor, whatever. There are so many jobs within the creative industries that are sort of not presented to kids and not to young people, you know, that there are all these options that you can do.
It's like school's first like instinct is to go, not going to work, instead of just thinking that like it's
quite pessimistic.
It is. It's like they're so hypocritical because they go, we support every student, and then the first instinct is, no, you're not doing that.
And Creative Spark, how supportive it is that every single, like, there's a massive banner behind us saying it, every single t-shirt, every single like speech or anything, it's be bold, be brave, be you. And it's just like such a big thing, and it's so supportive and helpful. What's your association with those values?
I think those are great words to use, and a great sort of ethos to carry through your life. Like even just right now at school, be bold, be brave, be you is such an amazing sort of way to be, you know, like you say, you've maybe had a bit of trouble at school with people being a bit uncomfortable with how bold you are, and you know what, it's fine. Like they're in a few years they're going to be like, oh, I wish I had a bit of that confidence, do you know what I mean, like that. And that's literally why these people say these things, because they don't feel bold and brave enough in their own lives. And like I say, like, you know, these drama lessons really set you up for things in life. They give you people skills. They like give you a voice that is like grounded and confident, and that you can speak to people, and it's just a great way to live your life. And I think drama lessons really set you up for that and give you that confidence and instill that bold, brave person that you should be.
even this podcast, our aim is to like get this out to people and let people hear that this is like
we are trying to help make a change.
We are talking a lot about how we are going to be doers, not moaners.
Yeah.
Like there's this perception of people our age that will just moan about everything but never actually do anything. But that's what this podcast is. I've always been a bit of a weirdo, but I've always had an outlet. I've never had an outlet for it until I came to Creative Spark.
I think someone that's a good example was my sister Abby, who like volunteered here. She did a lot of backstage stuff, and even that has helped her with her confidence because she's very quiet. She's like, even that, just as we were talking about other jobs, even that helped her.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing as well, as helping out at things and making props, or doing the lighting for things. Like all these things are such great experiences for people, just to meet people and work on it like a collective thing together. When you work on a show and you're part of it and you made that prop, and that's a like really important thing, or you lit the show, or you did the sound. Like it's been part of like a massive project, and feeling like you've done something good and you've been a little part of it, and you put it all together. And then even still, like that's a massive job, within the creative arts as well. The crew, they're extraordinary people. Like they are more impressive than the actors and the singers on stage. Like, let me tell you, like what the way they keep shows running, and they problem solve, and they're such like intelligent people that just like are incredible. And that's a whole other sector. That's a whole other thing that you can go and do.
Something off topic, but like a question we had as our like intro question to like this episode, our first episode, was what movie could you watch over and over again and not get bored?
Oh, that's a good one. My movie for that is The Devil Wears Prada. I absolutely love it. It was one of those ones that I had on DVD and I just would like watch it every night. Like I just loved it, and it just, I don't know why. I just can't, I'm never bored of it.
So to kind of like wrap it up, like something that we were talking about, like for like kind of introducing our podcast, is like what like rips your knitting. So what really gets on your nerves?
Yeah. I do hate people chewing in the morning. I don't know what it is. See, when I've just woken up and I hear someone like chewing on like cereal or something, it's like I'm not a morning person, so I think the chewing bit in the morning really is a combination for me that just like gives me shivers down my spine. I'm like, I need to get out, or I can't stand this person. And they can be like people that I really love dearly, and I'm like, get out, I can't listen to it.
Get out.
Rips me in.
I think that's everything. I will now hand over to myself. So
thank you.
Also, everyone go and get tickets to Mamma Mia.
Oh, please do. I'd love that. And let me know when if you come along, and it'd be lovely to see you all. Thanks for having me. It's been honestly such a pleasure just to speak to you all and go down memory lane about when I was your age and loving my drama lessons. And I wish you guys all the best. Like, just keep being bold, brave, and you.
Yay! Yeah, we did it.
Hi, I'm Alex, as you know, and this is an interview with my French teacher, Miss Gibbons, who's had quite a bit of experience in French schools and Scottish schools alike, and knows quite a bit about the differences in approach and learning. So yeah, I'll pass on to myself again. So the first question is, what is the most apparent difference between the Scottish education system and the French education system?
Well, there are probably a few things that I'm going to mention here, but one of the biggest things for me is, well, they start school when they're 6 in primary school, but it's very, very academic. It's very academic from a young age. It's very structured. It's a lot more formal than what we would see in primary schools here. And even from a really young age, there's a real focus on memorising dates, learning poems off by heart, learning songs off by heart. And actually, I spoke to a French friend about this podcast, and I was telling her things that I had been saying to you. And she says she remembers being in maybe primary 2 and having to memorise a song so that she could learn the names of all the different teeth that are in your mouth. So she said the exact same thing, that it's very formal and that there's lots of memorisation off by heart.
Because there was an announcement when I was in primary school that was like that instead they're going for an approach where they'd learn everything through play. So there's little dens and stuff in the P1 room right now and stuff. So I feel like we are much more kind of, I don't know, like it's less difficult earlier on. It's like quite fun and a bit more like nursery, I'd say.
I totally agree with you. The play is really important in Scottish schools where it's not so much in French. French in schools, the focus is on French language, literature, history, geography, maths.
Yeah.
And there's really not so much of a focus on the more creative subjects like music, like dance, like drama. They take certainly a backseat, especially in the younger years in particular.
So if there was one thing that you could take from French schools to add to Scottish schools, what would that be?
And I think, again, we spoke about this yesterday, and I know I've spoke to you a lot even in class about this.
Yeah.
It sounds like a stereotype, but the foods.
Yeah. And you're saying like you all sit down with like nice cutlery and stuff, and there's like 3 or 4 course meals and things like that.
Yeah, the last school that I went to visit was really interesting because you went into the canteen and they had their own chefs in the school to prepare all their meals, and they had sometimes 3 or 4 courses, often with a cheese course as well. There's some cheese in there. And then they all sit down together in the canteen and eat together. There's no real packed lunches. Nobody brings food from home. You're either in the canteen eating what the school provides, or you're at home having a proper meal with your family.
And you're saying like even in the like the teachers' lounge, there's like nice wine and stuff there.
Well, yeah, that can be a bit of a thing. Yeah, that's in Spain as well, where in the teachers' lounge they'll provide you with a 3-course meal. They'll put a wee bottle of wine on the table for you. Very, very different to here. You would never see that here.
There's it's like a lot of greasy food and vending machines and things like that, and like little food and little trays and things like that. But I feel like I would enjoy lunch much better if there was also more time to eat, because there's only 40 minutes or so.
Time's really important. They give the French schools the time to go and have a proper lunch. Whereas here we're rushing it, so we're trying to eat the fastest possible thing. The focus there is about having good quality so that it sets you up well for the afternoon, for all of your lessons. And it really is, they really do pay close attention to what they're eating. No matter what school you're in France, there's a real kind of focus on it.
Yeah, and it really affects, like if you had no lunch, you'd work much worse than if you had a nice 3-course lunch. Yeah,
exactly.
And you were saying that like there was like a restaurant in the last school or something.
Well, this is really interesting. So this is a bit of a special school in that it's for pupils who have decided to specialise in hospitality. So they've got an interest in hospitality. So within the school, do you know how you have home economics?
Yeah.
And you go and you cook. Well, these students learn how to cook, and then their food gets sent down to the school bakery, where they sell the food to the general public. And in the school they have a restaurant where the students not only learn how to cook and prepare meals for the restaurant, where the general public can book a table and get a really cheap, lovely meal, but they also learn how to be waiters and waitresses, and how to be a concierge, how to be a sommelier for the wine as well. So they learn every part of it there, real practical hands-on experience for those pupils that want a slightly more specialist education. But that wasn't a private school. That was a public school, but it was for students that had decided they wanted to have education, but with a little bit more of a specialist focus.
I couldn't really imagine that happening here, but that sounds pretty good. How does exams work higher up in the school for qualifications and things?
So you have your initial kind of 4 years, your collège, and then if you decide to continue with education, you go to lycée then, and you would do your baccalaureate, or the French call it the bac. And it's an exam that then determines whether or not they might go to university. They might go to something called a grande école, and maybe they'll go and do something a bit more vocational. They might go to a more vocational school after that point. So it's really their bac that decides the route that they're going down after that point.
And do you feel like it's quite set, like you'll have to choose earlier on or later?
I tend to find that they're a bit more set than what we are. I feel like the focus in Scotland is about giving you as wide a range of possible subjects and making sure you've got skills across lots of areas. But you tend to find that in France they choose to either go down quite a scientific mathematics route, or they might go down the route of doing the kind of arts.
I've just remembered something about you were saying, like the food. I met someone once when I was on holiday who'd moved to France because they had like specific dietary needs and things like that, and apparently just because the food's so much better in schools and just like in general, like lovely fresh food.
I could believe that. I think it's lovely and fresh, and it's about getting quality ingredients, and also about teaching the students how to socialise, about sitting down at a table, chatting with their friends, eating a full meal. So it's more than just the food, I suppose. It's teaching them how to socialise as well.
So what would you say is your favourite thing about the Scottish education?
I think my favourite thing about the Scottish education system is our variety. I really like our variety of subjects. We allow students to get a really broad varied, and I think that we're really good at removing barriers to education. So if a student comes in and is from quite a disadvantaged background, we provide the jotters, we provide the pencils, we provide the books. In France, every single student has to pay for their own equipment, so they have to buy jotters, they have to buy pencils, books, everything. And I think parents can pay like a kind of insurance payment, which means they get an allowance to be able to kind of pay for these things for their pupils. But I think the focus in a Scottish school is really making sure that we remove all of those barriers to learning and making sure that a student feels really supported. And even in the senior school, when they do their qualifications, if you decide to leave school at 16, you've already got kind of a National 4 or a National 5, or if you stay on, you've got loads of different layers before you get to university, and then university's free. So all of these things, I've realised I've spoken about a lot of them, but all of these things I really like about the Scottish system.
Yeah, and like also like because this podcast was set up by a theatre arts group, we were all very, we like drama and things like that, and everyone here, we're very lucky that how accommodating Scotland is of the arts, rather than like in France or some other countries where they're maybe a bit more strict and like less accommodating of it.
There tends to be a bit more of a focus on more academic subjects, but that can mean that for students who really need that creative outlet and who struggle with more academic subjects, you can sometimes see them getting a wee bit left behind, especially kind of when they're younger, before they have that option to specialise.
Yeah, it's like, I think a main focus of how education works here is that everyone should be involved with, like, whether their style of learning is more creative or academic, or whether, and also their background as well. So I think that's a really positive area of Scotland.
I would totally agree with you there. I think that's something that is really nice from Scotland, actually. Yeah. I can see kind of benefits of both systems, but I think the Scottish system, I have to say, I might prefer slightly.
Yeah, I feel like it really allows people to kind of excel in their area. I think that's probably my favourite as well, how lucky we are that we have so many facilities for music and drama and arts and things like that. But I think that is all the questions I have to ask you. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we close off?
No, I'd just really like to thank you for coming and having a wee chat to me. It's always nice to have the opportunity to talk about France and the differences, and hopefully this will give you a slightly better understanding of some of the ways that they're a little bit different to us.
I think this will really enhance what we're trying to say on this episode of the podcast, so thank you.
During our conversation with Emma Mullen and Miss Gibbons, we learned that the education system here in Scotland is ever changing. The curriculum and the school environment can differ in many ways, but something we are extremely passionate about is that young people get to study the subjects that they want to study. As Creative Spark participants, we understand and feel the benefits of the arts. We believe that all Scottish schools should offer all pupils high quality education in the arts. So here's our question to you.
How easy is it to access the arts in your school?
Please send us your responses on our social media accounts. On Instagram and Twitter, it's Creative Spark TA, On Facebook and TikTok, it's Creative Spark Theatre Arts. We look forward to hearing what you have to say.
You've been listening to Creative Speaks. Join us next time to hear more of what's going on inside young minds.